Welcome to the Burning Pallets Podcast, sponsored by Texsource. Here's your host, Ryan Boland.
Hey, what's happening, guys? Ryan here again with another podcast, along with our co-host, Mike Hoey.
Hey, everybody.
We also have a new guy in today. His name is Jacob.
What's going
How you
on?
doing, Jacob?
I'm doing good.
You're joining us on a Burning Pallets podcast, episode number, who knows? Well, it's a lot out there. But anyways.
We're over 10 now.
I don't know, way more than that. Way more. But yeah, welcome, Jacob. He is I don't know how you screen printed before, or how long you've screen printed for, but you've kind of transitioned from, I'll let you tell us the story.
But you're an employee here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob's in training with us at Texsource because our own current salesman who's been with us for 10, 15 years, even longer, they visited you in the past and always spoke highly of you and liked that what you were printing. And as Mike would say, you've come over to the dark side. Yes.
This is the dark side. Welcome.
You were an anti this side, but you were.
No, it was in a loving way because I was on the dark side before with Atlas years and years ago. Yeah. And then I got, full force screen printing. And I always called it the dark side because, it's the business. And you had to pick one or the two. And it seemed to get a laugh out of all the sales guys. Like, yeah, you're on the dark side, man. Darth Vader. But so you had a shop in Charlotte, right?
Yeah, so I've been screen printing for about 10 years. I started when I was 18, actually. So I worked a couple odd jobs like restaurants and stuff like that. And really what got me into screen printing was one, to own my own clothing brand, like a lot of my other friends that kind of got into it, the fashion aspect. So that's kind of why I transitioned into that. And I just, I really loved it. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I kind of always knew I wanted to own my own business and kind of be in charge of my own future. So that's what kind of led me up to owning my own brand. So I did that owned my own screen printing business for about 4 years, and we were doing that out of Charlotte and just a little manual shop, one embroidery head, and did that. And
if you embroidery and screen printing, I mean, you're doing a lot of stuff.
Were you doing other people's brands, or like everybody that wants a brand, most people try to go to a place versus just flat out like, I want a brand, so I'm just going to buy all this equipment. So were you doing some other work or mostly strictly your brand?
No, well, I didn't have my own clothing brand. I printed for other brands. So that was kind of my niche, was I focus on the clothing brand industry, and that's kind of how I grew and really made a success of myself. So yeah, it's crazy. There's so much opportunity there, and it's really a niche business, and they really require kind of a different shop than just your typical screen printer.
Your typical one color, two color job, bang out 50 to 100. You're doing more niche puffs and glitters and this high density and
customization, labels,
because
all
that. Your clothing brands want the latest flashy piece. It's not your normal CrossFit or gym or school.
Yeah, and they're trying to prototype, and I imagine it's that. I mean that's tough. I've dealt with startup clothing brands or wannabe clothing brands, and a lot of them don't really understand the process or how expensive it is just to set up, just to get a small amount.
Yeah, some of them are definitely surprised when you tell them the price, and they're paying $20-something a shirt, and they're trying to sell it for that. So,
yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that there's guys getting like really good money out of high quality these micro brands, we'll call them, where you may buy a hoodie off of them and it's $80, or a t-shirt being $50. And I used to think, if you're a screen printer, you're like, I'm never going to pay that for anything, because you're used to, printing them and just saying, hey, that's cool, and you print a shirt. Yep. But a lot of these brands, they're getting it because they're finding a market of people that want something that's exclusive,
something new, something that's better.
Yeah, and I see it all the time in comments on some of these brands. Just they come back and they'll put like $50. Well, that's ridiculous, and you have to say, well, like, hey, if this isn't your thing, then sorry, move on. But
So your background screen printing, you've been what took you from? Well, by the way, I saw a lot of your posts on Instagram, and you were posting those really niche puff prints and high density. So you're doing a lot of them.
Yeah, puff was definitely my niche, and it kind of blew up probably about 4 years ago. And it's kind of funny because puff has been around since like the 70s, and
yeah,
people kind of forgot about it, and then it kind of came around again, and people are like, "What's this? I've never seen this before." So once that happened, I was able to put it on Instagram, and it really did well on Instagram. And
especially for the fashion, the clothing brands. I mean, you throw some puff on there, which is easy to do, and everybody should do it, and every shop should offer it. You throw some puff on the ink, or puff on a shirt, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely, no pun intended, stands out.
Yeah, it's not the easiest thing to print either. It's definitely it has its challenges, and getting the loft you want and the durability you want is kind of the fine balancing act. If you mix too much puff additive into your ink, it's gonna crack, but if you don't mix enough in, and you're not going to get that nice puff look you're going for. So it's kind of all about figuring that out and figuring out the right recipes.
Yeah, and the cure time and all that stuff. But
your emulsion stencils and.
But I see that being the key really to any successful shop is finding a way to stand out and specialize or do something that the guy down the road doesn't. And you want to be that shop that you're the go-to guy for puff or for brands. You really have to define yourself, because if you try to be everything to everybody, you end up spreading yourself too thin. And so shops definitely need to figure out who they are and then be the best at it. And I know when you get out there on this, you've already been on the sales route, visiting customers, but I know that they'll benefit. It's nice to have some youth in there too, somebody that's old enough to have done it for a while.
You got to have the knowledge, because if you go in some of these shops, they're gonna the old heads will run you out.
Yeah. They'll call out BS.
Yeah. And they'll try to stump you. It's
it's true though. I have dealt with so many vendors at all levels, at high levels where they wanted that Adidas money, or even at the lower levels where they just wanted your money, wanted to sell you ink. And the ones that came in that added to, those were the people that I respected, that I would call on and say like, hey man, I'm having this problem. What do you think? And then they could answer versus, well, let me have the tech guy call you back later. If you can do it as a salesperson, I think you're going to do well out there.
Like a salesman walking in saying, and they talk to the owners in the shop, the production managers, and see how they're doing. But then you always, I don't know if the salesman that we send into you, they would always say, have you tried this? We got this new silicone ink. Have you tried it out? I mean, I don't know if that worked for you or not,
or a lot of times I would.
Did that work for you? Or?
Yeah, I would try anything, but not personally. Not when I was running the front of the house. I was like, if Dwayne came in and said something like, "Hey, I've got this new white I want you to try," because white's a big thing. I'm like, you don't have to sell it to me. You have to sell it to the girl running the floor, because she's going to be dealing with it every day. But I usually let the vendors come in and do their thing. And the good ones really know their product well, and they know what they're doing, because they've either been in the trenches or they're just they're very knowledgeable about their product. PJ from Easyway, he's a guy I've known for years and years and years. And when he come to visit,
don't know nothing.
He don't know nothing. PJ literally came into our shop, and we had auto reclaim and all this going on. Yeah. Hey, PJ, was sitting there in Charlotte, I think. So he came in and he knew we had, chemicals from a rival chemical company in there. And he said, "Hey, can we go back there and take a look at what's going on?" And I hadn't been back in the screen room, it'd probably been like 8 weeks, last time they left the light on, I went in there and said, "Oh, good night," went out there. But he immediately said, like, "Hey, do you see what's going on here?" And re-educated me on something I wasn't doing every day. And when you do that, people appreciate it. And then there was a loyalty there that was built with him because he just fed me good information. So once you get that established, and like I said, that's why I like Texsource, because we know what we're doing collectively.
And that's why I brought Jacob on, because he had his own screen printing shop. He liked screen printing. He liked finding out new ways to like the puff and the glitters and just different ways to do the fashion brands. Along with the salesman, I don't know if it was Ronnie or Robin or whoever visited you.
It was Robin. I think he stopped in maybe a couple times and talked to him.
Burned one with you. Well, we just mentioned it was 420 yesterday, so we're making 420 jokes.
But bringing you on this side, so you've traveled. Have you been with us? So what we usually do at Texsource, we bring people in, we run them through the ringer. You go through the warehouse, you learn how to use the mixing system, you go to the customer service, you answer phones, you learn how to put sales orders in. There's a lot of crap that goes along here, and we put you through everything. And so you would learn just like a kitchen, or a restaurant, front of the house and back of the house. You got to learn it all. So, but learning all that, and then now you've been on the road for the past 5 weeks. How you liking traveling? Do you like the road? Do you like sales? What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, so it's definitely helpful how you guys kind of threw me in the warehouse first and kind of learned all that side. That was definitely, I would definitely have done the same thing and, kind of learn the whole process, kind of learn all the, get to walk around and see exactly what we have in the warehouse. But yeah, these last, I think, 4 weeks that I've been on the road, 4 or 5 weeks, has been really great.
He's been out, like, in hotels. Usually our salesmen don't go 3 weeks in a row staying in hotels. They'll do 1 week. They'll go out far away and stay overnight for 2-3 nights. And then they'll stay in for 2 weeks. But they'll still travel locally.
Yeah.
Where they don't stay overnight. So we had him, and we sent you went way up north somewhere in North Carolina for 3 nights. And then next week,
Durham.
And then the very next week you went to, I don't know where you went, or Charleston or.
Yeah, all over North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee.
But you stayed overnight the very next week for 3 nights. And then the following week you went to Nashville, Tennessee, or in Tennessee somewhere, stayed out for another 3 nights. So
did you go to a bachelor party by any chance when you were in
No, I've been being good.
Oh, okay.
So he traveled 3 weeks in a row, probably 2 nights a week. So he's been going a lot. And that's not normal what we do, but since you're new, we threw you in the trenches.
Now, I do want to ask you, what do you think, this is still sort of a handshake business where, shops, you go in and the person. But what differences, because you're a different generation, I've got kids your age, what approach are you going to have, like with technology and social media, that may be different than, what we're doing now? Are you going to try to incorporate different strategy, being that you were just in this business, and how you bought or how you learned about things?
Yeah, I definitely think, Instagram was kind of one thing that I always used and utilized, to gain customers when I had my screen printing business. So I think kind of translating that over to where I am now and kind of doing something similar where I have my Instagram and I can, share knowledge through that and kind of, get in front of shops without even being in their building and, over Instagram. So I definitely think, Instagram is definitely going to help me out there.
And you still have your network too of people from your Instagram account, but you think this will get you some leads and you'll be able to set up, some, like go and see the, people through the social media channel.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that's hard with Instagram is, I'm getting people all over the United States. So, getting someone in California doesn't necessarily help us out here,
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a long car trip.
Yeah.
So, a lot of hotel nights.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. But as far as the traveling, are you liking to travel? I know some of our salesmen who's been with us for a while are getting tired of the road and that sort of thing, and it wears on you after a time. But you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely enjoyable. I've probably traveled more this last month than I have like the last 10 years of my life. So definitely been able to see a lot, eat a lot of cool restaurants, and meet a lot of new people, see the different states and stuff. So it's been great.
And all screen printers talk. I mean, they're all buddies, and
Yeah.
people talk to each other. So going to these shops, I mean, you develop relationships with the production guy or whoever it is, and they're all pretty talkative, and you can develop a lot of friends over time in this traveling.
And you can see the needy ones, like the ones that really need some help there.
Oh, yeah.
And the advice goes well beyond products sometimes. Just some things, simple things that help them, because if they survive and they grow, then they can, grow with us, type of thing. So at least that's where my loyalty lied when it came to buying, when I was on the other side, the light side of the business. My loyalty was with the people that were there for me. And sometimes, that shifts. During the pandemic, when certain companies just said like, oh, well, you can only buy this much ink. And I'm like, we're a big shop. We need more. You know what we got? Well, I'm sorry. It's the pandemic. That's when you're scrambling, and that's when, Dwayne like bailed us out. He's like, as long as I have ink and you're not trying to hoard it and then like resell it on the side, we're going to sell it to you. And I thought, man, that's good, because
It was rough. Yeah.
it bailed us out, for sure. So you build the loyalties, and
As long as you walk in these shops and you're talkative and good. I mean, I went to a shop the other day, and I don't go to many shops because I got other stuff going on here at Texsource, but I took a delivery to a shop. I don't know where it was again. I think it's Charlotte somewhere. And I never met the warehouse guy or the production guy. And I'm unloading the car, taking it in, and had my two dogs in the car.
yeah.
And then a conversation just striked up about dogs, and then we just kept talking and talked for about a good 10 minutes. So as long as you're outgoing and talkative and to these guys, and they're willing to help and sell, it works out.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at how long we spend in these shops talking to these guys. When I had my shop, I was always busy. I didn't feel like I had time to talk to anybody when they came in. So, it surprises me. We'll bullshit with the shop owner for, an hour, and,
They're just doing that to waste time.
take a little
Make the
time out of their
time
day.
up, yeah.
So, like, they're excited to talk to someone coming in their door. So,
Yeah.
That's for our guys who travel on the road. They just want to waste time, and
Yeah, get the day over with. I only made it to 2 shops today. Took that big hour lunch.
but you are right. If they're very welcoming and they want to talk, and
yeah, that has been surprising. I felt like a lot of more shops would be a little bit more standoffish, but, everybody's been extremely nice that I've met so far. So,
Well, they're taking you to the good ones, right? They're just like, don't go in there. This guy will kill you.
we all the screen printers like our screen printing buddies and our screen printing salesmen. But if an insurance agent comes in, or one of those guys, we're no time for those people.
Yeah.
The insurance people and the whoever's not with the screen printing industry, they don't want to talk to them.
Yeah. I used to get the guys that would come in that wanted to sell me cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I have a semi worth of cardboard boxes already. And like, I'm cardboard rich up in here. And you can't get rid of cardboard. I mean, you literally, it's tough to get rid of, and unless you pay to get one of those little compactors,
Mm-hmm.
But these guys would come in all the time, and I appreciated the guy had business card that was actually corrugated. That was pretty cool, but I'm like, or the shipping guys, the freight people come in.
Oh yeah, yep.
And they're the worst. They're like, here, we want to bid on your thing. I'm like, look, I'm not calling for trucks up in here, and just not doing it. But yeah, the all of the vendors that came in, I always would talk to them because I wanted to know. Here's what it is. Here's the secret. I'm going to tell you this. So B, look out. Here's what I did. When the vendors come in, and you're a printer like me, like I was, you're prodding them for information to see what everybody else is doing. How busy are they? Are they running a bunch of contract stuff? And that was your way of getting intel, right? So just be aware that there's guys like me that play this game where I'm getting intel on like, who's my competition, or like, hey, I lost this account. Do you know who's printing this Salt Life shit now? And so I let them in because once they trusted me, I would prod them for information.
I thought you were going to say if they walked in with a suit and a tie or really nice clothes, you were just going to kick them out. Because of screen printers, screen printing shops are getting dirty all the time. So
yeah, I have to admit that the guys that are dressed a little bit too much, like PJ's pretty snazzy dresser. He's not. He's got some fancy glasses that he's not back there pulling squeegees.
That's why he's in chemicals.
Yeah, I've just known him for so many years, but
he's been around the block. He's been a Matt Suey,
yeah,
Easy Way. He's been around.
He knows his stuff,
yeah.
And he can prove that he saves you money, and that was bottom line for me. Is like, look, fight for my business, show me on paper, and he did. So that's why he got our business. Now, who I bought that from, whether it's Texsource or another competitor, I think that's up for people get pissed at each other for who gets what, but that's another story. But I like someone that I know that they have been in the trenches with me.
Oh yeah.
They sympathize with my pain points, and that's what a successful salesman can do in this business. And I'm not going to ever talk about the competition. I'm not. If I sold for Texsource, I'm not going to come in and say buy ours because theirs sucks. And we all know there's guys that do that, and they are just. I'm like, I don't care if your stuff's better. I'm not buying from you because that's the worst selling point, ever. Is like, theirs sucks, buy ours. It's
Yeah.
it's terrible.
That's the same concept when we sell equipment. When someone needs to buy equipment or like autos or whatever, if we're looking at M&R, stick with M&R. M&R is good. S-Rock is good. Workhorse is good. It's your top autos. So we never really try and persuade people out of one thing or the next.
Yeah, because it's very disingenuous.
Yeah.
And it's going to strike a nerve because some people that are brand loyal to certain machinery, for example.
But we will say, your top three autos in this industry is going to be Workhorse, M&R, and S-Rock. And I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's true.
That's your only ones. You got the other electric ones, but yeah.
Yeah. The MHM, are they still around these days?
Yeah.
I've seen a few of those.
Yeah, and those are kind of high-tech-ish, ones, but they're just not like the ones you can go down and grab, So, we've got a lot of opportunity here for sure, and I think when you were in here earlier or up here earlier before we did the podcast, I was like, dude, I hope you stay here because, I like working, and being around other people that love this, and we can talk about cool stuff in this industry, and that sort of. That vibe gets passed on to the customers. They really enjoy it when they see we like this. We're just not like you go down and rent a U-Haul. The guy's in there, he just fucking hates his life.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. But this is a business that when you're in this and you like this and you're good at it, that transcends to the customer. They could feel that, and they pick up on that vibe.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely passionate, and that bleeds through to everybody you're talking to. It definitely helped me out when I was printing shirts for people, and then they knew how passionate I was.
Yeah, it works across the board, and it's a good lesson for our customers too. If you hate screen printing T-shirts, get out.
And I actually tried to get out when I closed my business down. I'm like, I'm gonna do something else, and I got dragged right back in here. So now here I am again. So.
He didn't get dragged. He came willingly.
Yeah,
I did call. I called you guys, and you set me up with a job. So
I know, and I did the same thing. And I'm literally working at All American, running this place, and I'm like, I need my escape plan. And it wasn't that I hated that; is that I just knew that my passion for all of this would translate into this side of the business, and it was a place I wanted to be. So I talked to these guys for a year. It was like a year the first time I came down here. Yeah. I came down here a couple, 2 or 3 times, I think, during that. So, and it was about timing. So, yeah, I love it here.
So Jacob, background, screen printing 10 years. You got out of it because, like you said, you were, I guess, tired of it or wanted to move to something else. And now you're with us. So hopefully it keeps going. Hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah,
hopefully,
I'm liking it so far.
Hopefully
so
enjoy.
Everything's been great.
Hopefully you enjoy the traveling. I always liked it. When I was in Georgia after we lived in there and got the Texsource place running correctly, I started doing a bunch of traveling, and it was fun. Getting to visit shops, see the different size shops, just how this shop works versus this one. I mean, just meeting all the people. I mean, it was fun. So hopefully that's the same thing with you.
Are we going to drag him in on some of the classes in the future?
Yes. Yeah. He'll be helping teach some of the classes, and it'll be a rotation between us 3, Robin.
Yeah.
You got to be under 60 to help teach. So that kicks out Dwayne and Ronnie.
It kicks out. Oh shit! I got like 4 years. Oh damn!
Well,
Just send me to the pasture.
You don't look 60, so.
Well, that's clean living. That's what that is. Yeah. That's my liver's in good shape. I'm saving that for retirement.
Yeah. But yeah, we wanted to introduce Jake to the Texsource team with this podcast. Talk about his travels, his time with Texsource. How long you been? 2 months, maybe.
Going on 3 months.
3 months. So you first month and a half, you were all in-house, and then the past 4 weeks you've been traveling.
Yeah.
And then you went to Saudi with us. He went to Saudi with the
yeah, that was very cool
to do the color chart screens.
Yeah.
You got to see the whole laser to screen work, and now you can sell $100,000 machines.
Yeah, and he got to witness that I actually did videotape stuff that disappeared, mysteriously.
Yeah.
Into digital lost land.
But yeah, so welcome to the team. Well, you've been here for long enough. Welcome to the podcast. We'll get you back on later on after you visited more shops. Get some, maybe when you're out at shops and people have questions, remember those questions, jot them down, and we'll talk about them here. That'd be good for us to, what problems do shop owners have and the production managers have in their shops currently?
Too many problems.
Yeah.
So keep those, jot them down, and we'll do a podcast on that and talk about it.
Yeah. The only thing we can't fix that is probably the number one problem is employees. That's the toughest part of growing a business is finding people that will stay and that are sober enough to print without screwing all your stuff up.
Well, soon enough we'll have robots, and so we ain't worry about it.
I was just at a bowling alley, and there was these robots carrying people's foods around to them. I don't know if you guys have seen stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. They had facial expressions. They get all happy whenever you pick the food up off of them.
Was it like a rolling robot, or?
Yeah, it was like a rolling robot.
Yeah. Did you tip the robot?
I don't know. I didn't get food, but
like a couple of,
I don't know how that would work.
Like a couple washers and a wood screw and just doing it. Yeah, that's scary.
Where was it? You're up in Charlotte. You live in Charlotte, so where was that at? Which bowling alley?
That was Stars and Strikes over in Concord.
Ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
check them out and get served by some robots.
Nice pun there. Stars and strikes. I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for joining us on the Burning Pallets podcast. We'll keep rolling them out. Keep talking about random stuff. Thanks for joining us, and
We'll see you on the flip side.
yeah.
Awesome.
Later.
Thanks, guys.